It smells good already. Oh. Hey guys, welcome to Wild Hope Homestead. I made a big batch of pasta sauce the other day, a couple of days ago, and got all that into the freezer now and kept a little bit back in the fridge for us to use. So it's quite tasty, so as soon as I made it and tasted it, it made me feel like meatballs. So now I'm making meatballs for dinner tonight. I'm making a double recipe which lasts for, I can't remember, more than 2 meals anyway. So we usually do 2 meals out of it and then put the rest of the meatballs into the freezer. This recipe is called Chef John's Italian Meatballs. We've done a few of Chef John's recipes on the allrecipes.com website, and we quite like his food. So when Steve found this one and made it, since then that's been our meatball recipe. It uses half and half pork mince and beef mince. So I'm just cooking the onions until they're nice and soft and sweet, and we've got a recipe calls for breadcrumbs, but since I'm gluten free we usually use quinoa flakes, but I've been making almond milk a bit more lately, so we've got almond meal, so using trying it out with almond meal, and that's just soaking in milk at the moment, which looks like a globby sloppy mess. So that's softening in the milk. What's next? Mix the beef and pork together, then we add the onions, the breadcrumb almond meal mixture, eggs. We skip the cheese but they're still tasty. Parsley, garlic, salt, pepper, Italian herbs, or whatever mixture of herbs we've got. Red pepper flakes. We don't have red pepper flakes, but we've got plenty of cayenne pepper. Well, so we're just about getting down low on what we've got, but I've got plenty more dehydrated cayenne peppers that I can whiz up. So we're going to mix all that together, and that has to go in the fridge for 1 hour. I know there's something in the morning, if I can make it through the night, whatever comes, hello, high water, I know what's on the other side. I know what's on the other side. Which bowl did we use last time? The big bowl or the big bowl? Probably the biggest bowl. That's the minces. I'm just going to end up doing this with my hands in a minute, but see how we go. I'll throw it in the spoon because it's still just very slightly frosty. I should have pulled it out of the fridge sooner. If we put the warm onions in, that will help. We get them in the good fat in there. There's a lot of fat to cook the onions in, but I used chicken fat that was scraped off the bone, the last little chicken bone broth that I made. So they smell extra tasty. Nothing like onions cooked in animal fat. What's next? Almond meal and milk. Eggs. It'll be 4 eggs, but I'm doing 5 because some of them are a little bit small. So I try to be disciplined these days and crack the eggs one at a time, just in case. I don't think I've ever had a bad egg. I don't think I've ever cracked a bad egg for cooking or baking, but because we normally don't have stacks and stacks of eggs sitting around, but we did have quite a few recently, so it's better to be safe than sorry, especially when we have hens that go broody a lot. Thankfully, the broodiness cycle seemed to have stopped before we all got sick and everything, so that was extremely helpful. Right, eggs. Now I need to go pick some parsley and then the herbs and spices. Right. The wind is picking up out there. At least it's nicer than it was yesterday. Yesterday was one of those unsavoury winter days where it only got up to 11 degrees, I think, was the high, and it was just foggy. It's a bit yucky. Foggy and cloudy. We didn't see the sun all day, and there was also like that light drizzle, tiny rain for a fair chunk of the day, so it was rather cold and not very fun. At least we've seen the sun today for a short while. This calls for 1/4 of a bunch, well, for a double recipe, 1/2 a bunch of parsley. I don't know what a bunch of parsley is. Parsley comes from the garden in whatever size bunch you want it to. So, let's see. salt. Black pepper. I need to grind up some more pepper soon. That's another thing I grind. I buy black peppercorns and grind our own black pepper, so that way it's fresher and cheaper. Italian herb seasoning. We did have some Italian seasoning, but that we'd bought because we didn't have all the herbs, but we've used all that. So now I'm making it up. Basil and oregano are the main things, but we don't have oregano. So, we have got some marjoram from the garden. Yay! I mean, Italian seasoning is one of those things where nobody does it quite the same anyway, so I think it's usually mostly basil and oregano, and then some rosemary. I might chuck a bit of thyme in there too. So let's see, what was it? 2 teaspoons. Let's go. Only 2 teaspoons. Okay, let's go like some basil, and then we'll make up the rest of that teaspoon with a little bit of thyme. And then we'll do more margarine. I mean, these aren't scrunched up anyway, so I can actually afford to put in a bit more. And a bit of rosemary. And now we just mix everything up, and then it has to sit in the fridge for an hour, at least an hour. Although I'm pretty sure we didn't do that last time. All the time before. This has kind of been, well, Steve's the one who found the recipe, and he was the one who made it the first few times. And I think we kind of did a joint effort last time. This is actually probably the first time I've done it all myself. So just figuring out how it all works. I'm doing it now in the afternoon so that I don't have to do it in a rush straight after school and let it sit for a while. It smells good already. Oh. All those herbs and onions. Not so much the raw meat smell, but it smells like the beginnings of meatballs. I think that'll about do it. Now we just got to fit it into the fridge. Hopefully this bowl will fit in the fridge. we've been sorting through all our dried beans lately that have been sitting around for a while, and some weeks in trays, to make sure they're properly dried out before we store them. So I think Angus actually did most of the bean sorting them into varieties, which is really helpful, but we all did some. Even Scarlett, you helped out too, didn't you, sorting the beans? And so we sorted them all into each variety, put them in containers. And then I went through doing some quality control, which actually was, not too bad. And then I weighed each variety just to see how well they did. I'll have to go back and look at my video and see how many plants I did of the different ones. Some of them just got 1 or 2 beans bunged into gaps of ones that got eaten, or just where there were gaps, so we didn't get that many from them. But I'm curious to see how well the varieties that I planted the same amount of beans did. And then so I weighed them all, I've written them all on the whiteboard and then got a total as well. And then after that I went through each variety again and spread them out on the tray and picked out the biggest and best looking beans, just however many I felt like saving of each variety for future planting. So the winner was Celogia. I think it may have been the winner last year, or either first or second. That's a black one with white spots, spotty patterns on it. And that's the one that I had growing in the, what I call the bean bed, over one side of the arch trellis. So they always do well. They've done well since I started growing them, so that's why I keep growing them. So we got 1.35 kgs of Celogia dried beans, and second was Genuine Cornfield, which was a surprise because I first planted them 2 seasons ago, not last year, but the year before, or the 2021-22 season. And they didn't do very well, even though they're supposed to be kind of drought tolerant and things. They were in the bean bed that year. They just didn't do very well. They may have been down the more shady end, I think. Maybe some of them got eaten. Maybe the soil just wasn't very good. I don't know. But for whatever reason, they didn't do very well. So the season after that, 22-23, I decided not to grow them, and then I hadn't actually tasted them because I had a few varieties to get through, and it took a while to get around to cooking and tasting them all. And when I cooked them and tasted them, they were actually my favourite of, well, all the beans that I'd grown. They were quite nice. So anyway, we didn't have any that year, and so this past season, 2023-24, they did really well, which is good. The best out of the other dried beans, not counting Celogia. So they were in the long bed on one of the stretches up with the growing up the strings. And then Apache Red was second, about half as many, slightly over, half as many as Genuine Cornfield, but they still did pretty well compared to the last year or two as well. They did better. I think we had a pretty good weather this past summer. Sort of rain every now and then, not too wet like the year before, but not too dry either, so that was good. And I won't go through them all, but altogether we grew around 5.65 kgs of dried beans, so that's not counting the ones that got thrown out because they got bad bits. That's just everything that we're going to eat or that's been saved for seed. So that's a pretty good addition to our pantry and our cooking. That was bush beans and climbing beans. So the bush beans, the borlottos, did by far and away the best. The kidneys have never done particularly well for me. The cannellinos usually do better, but a bunch of those got eaten by slugs and snails when they were young. So yeah, the borlotto is definitely the best bush bean for us. I'm considering not bothering growing the kidney bean because they just, I mean, some of them did get eaten by slugs and snails, but they just don't seem to be that productive. So I'm kind of looking out for a climbing bean that could replace the kidney bean, something that tastes similar. I've got the Apache Red, which looks similar. I don't know if it tastes similar, but not that we have to have a kidney bean because we've got plenty of nice tasting beans. But anyway, and now I have this big mess of beans to fit into my seed storage. All the pretty beans. We got a bunch of scarlet runner beans because I missed a few pods. Not that I need any more because I've already got some, but that's alright. And a bunch of these are Blue Lake runners. So we've got a bunch of those, which is good. They were the green beans that were very good growers for us, so it'll be good to have a bunch of those.
Is that a scarlet runner bean?
It's been really handy having the Blue Lake runners in the freezer in bags to use for quick dinners for steaming or baking in the oven. I'm just having to move all my slots, some of my slots around and move some of my packets of things because I can't fit everything in. These are all my beans here at the moment. Where are they? Oh, it's back here. They've got the biggest section. I mean, they are big fat seeds, but I've got a lot of beans in there. Lots and lots of packets of beans. So I just about need a separate container just for the beans now. I get quite fascinated by random colour variations in the beans, so I can't remember how many years I've been growing Borlotto bush beans for, but it's a fair few years now, and it's just started with, I don't know, maybe just 1 or 2 or 3 of these burgundy coloured variants. I call them burgundy Borlotto, and so I saved the ones that I got and planted them, and I think maybe there was maybe 1 pod which had some burgundy Borlotto. They don't always come true, but I've been saving some each year to try and get it to a stable line because I like the colour. I think they look really, obviously I like burgundy things and red things. When you plant a burgundy Borlotto seed, the pods on the plant that results from that, not all of them will be burgundy coloured beans. Some of them will just be regular Borlotto colours. You're more likely to get burgundy coloured ones than if you just plant a normal Borlotto. So this is how many I got from, I think I planted the same amount of burgundies as normal Borlottos this year. Where are the normal ones? Oops. And I by far and away got more of the normal ones. This is just however many I've saved for seed. Way more of the normal coloured ones, so, but more burgundies than I have before. So at least some of them, if I keep planting burgundy seeds, they will grow bean pods that have some burgundy coloured beans inside them. I don't know if it will ever be a stable thing, but I keep trying just because I'm interested to see what happens. And then I isolated another colour variation in the genuine cornfields, what I'm going to call chocolate cornfield. So they're basically a chocolatey colour with just a few beige kind of speckles, beige, it's like beige or greyish speckles on them. I'm going to see what happens with those. This is the first time I've I've selected a different colour out of them, so hopefully next year I can plant some and it'll probably be a similar thing, whereas some of them will turn out like that and some will just be normal colour patterns. But I'm interested to see what happens because it's fun and I like all the pretty colours of beans. Steve called me the crazy bean lady last night, but oh well. We've got Scarlett's birthday party in a few days and I'm having trouble getting everything done. It's just been hard because we've been sick and had lots of stuff going on. But I think I need to write down a list of things that need to be done so everybody can see them and help, and we can have a better idea of what needs doing inside and out. Still got pumpkins all over the table that I need to deal with. And there's food that needs to be made. Lots of tidying and cleaning inside. We have done some good tidying outside with Steve and Angus went off to the dump on Saturday and got rid of stuff, so that was good. And we burnt some stuff on the barrel. There was a bit of a pile there of branches that needed burning. I just don't know where I'm going to put all those pumpkins. I need to make more pumpkin puree, obviously, and pumpkin soup. And I should probably I'm thinking about just getting some chopped up and put in bags in the freezer. I haven't tried that before, but I figure they'd still be okay for roasting or something. Maybe. From a frozen state. I haven't really tried that before. I could also grate them, but all of that takes time, so for now I just need to dump them somewhere out of the way. I also still haven't planted my potato onions yet out the front because I need to rake and tidy the paths in the row. But now that it's actually a beautiful sunny day, hopefully maybe I can get that done today.